I don't hear y'all.
All right, we're good now.
I don't hear y'all.
You can't hear us?
Hold on. There we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
All right.
Boys and girls, ladies and gents, welcome to another episode of Stadium Miguel. It's Uncle Silk.
And
Nick.
All right. We barely got a Dan here. I got an and, I think.
He's still the disco.
No, not at the disco. Not at the disco, Nick. The disco was a couple days ago. I'm back. Today's game 4 of my Lightning, potentially sweeping the Stanley Cup. So
big brooms.
I'm getting excited, getting ready for that.
Hey, question for you. Now, if you I'm guessing you'd be able to procure tickets for Game 5. So, is any part of you hoping for a Canadiens win tonight?
So that's a great question.
To be in the stands.
Yeah. So I've never seen my team win in person in a series like this. I've been in numerous finals games across a couple different sports, but I've never seen my team to win in person. So as much as I would love to see that in person, and I do have tickets for Game 5, I never want to cheer for my team to lose a game, you know. So if it happens, it happens. But I just want to win no matter what. So if it goes to 5, great. If it doesn't, I just want another Stanley Cup here in Tampa.
Am I allowed to come out and celebrate with y'all like I'm a fan?
Oh, absolutely. So I'm thinking at the parade.
Lifelong Lightning fan.
Silk was a Lightning fan a few years ago. There's some receipts.
I had a playoff run.
2016.
Hell yeah. Check my receipts, Nick.
That's right. Nick, you're not allowed to go, of course, because you muted those words. You'll have no idea when the celebration is.
He's a Panther fan, I could tell.
Okay.
Yeah,
not a competitive ice skating fan.
So Nick, I think the parade will be on Thursday or Friday if they win tonight. So get yourself over to Tampa. Let's celebrate, then if the game's on Wednesday, I'm still waiting on our boy Kev to give me a call. He wanted to go to a game, so
you're the guy because you've been doing all the partying, so I know you the go-to guy for like the scene I need to go to. So
yep, I know all the places, I know all the people. Starting to meet some other movers and shakers around Tampa. So
the shakers and the movers.
That's right. That's right. So we got the place to be, the party. You know, wherever I'm at, that's where the party's at.
Absolutely. What party?
He's Jagged Edge. That's where the party's at.
Jagged Daniel.
Back at it again.
Do they do it like Miami does? It's a boat parade, or they do it through the streets?
So last year was a boat parade for the Lightning and the Bucks, but that was a little bit because of COVID. So I'm not sure what they're going to do this year. The boat parade just went off so well last year that I think that they'll probably continue that. But I wouldn't be surprised if they try to do something on the streets as well.
The city of Tampa's getting used to these, so they probably already have a cookie cutter route picked out.
We sure do. Yep. You have Gasparilla, you have the Lightning, you have the Bucks, you have the Lightning again. Who knows? You may have the Bucks again. You may have the Rays. Who knows? This is our vibe. This is our scene.
I think it'd be smart to just invite Tom. I think Tom got celebrating in Tampa kind of narrowed down. He might throw the cup. Cup might hit the water. Y'all might not be able to pass it on to a new team next year is what I'm saying. Like, get Tom involved. Probably can keep it in Tampa.
If that cup could talk, the stories that cup has.
Man, I wish that, once in my life I could have won the Stanley Cup to celebrate the way that those boys did last year or a few years ago. Alexander Ovechkin, when the Capitals won, I think that was like 2017 or 2018. They went on like a week-long bender. I don't know how they did it, but
he just did that last week, bro.
Easy killer. Just a couple days.
Saturday.
Yeah, that's just Saturday night. That rolled into Sunday morning. I'm getting too old for these nights, boys. Getting too old.
Tell me about it.
That's wild. He's been on a month-long bender, and he's saying he's getting too old for these nights.
How was y'all's boys' weekend? 4th of July yesterday. Did you guys do anything big?
Nothing work, man. I'm just a busy guy working. So I was planning on just chilling with the fam at the crib, and we was doing that a little bit, and kind of got some calls up there at the Cush house, and I had to make a run up there. So ended up with the family up there, having some dinner up there, enjoying Orlando a little bit, but just work, bro. I don't get to do a whole lot of fun these days, but work is fun. So
just had like a little neighborhood shindig with some food. Had an adult-sized bounce house, slip and slide kind of thing.
Adult size.
What's adult size mean, Nick?
Like it was like 2 stories tall.
Oh,
he just want to make it. No, my kids play on those too. They just want to make it sound like it wasn't embarrassing for adults to have a bounce house. That's what it sounds like.
I mean, I think there were some adults just like shoving kids out of the way so they could go down. Not to say that I was doing any of that, but yeah, just some drinks and fireworks. Nice little weekend.
So the bounce house is really for the kids.
They had a smaller kid size one. I guess the brave kids went on the one with the adults. My girlfriend might have kicked a couple of them to get them out of the way. So I mean, there was definitely different ways to act in each of the two. The smaller one, like the friends we were with, they have a 17-month-old, and that's something she can go down, and then
Gotcha.
And then the bigger one, just had to shove some 8-year-olds out of the way. Like, hey man, there's a pecking order here.
What was on the menu?
Everything, burgers, hot dogs, ribs. I think they had some like pulled pork, brisket, just a lot of food, a lot of people. Good time.
Sounds
First
festive.
time I've had like off. I haven't had anything going on the 4th of July in a while.
Yeah, yesterday was an easy day for me. Like I said, I was out a little bit late. Went to a concert by a DJ by the name of Griffin. Got tickets to that. A little too beady for me at times, but was out pretty late yesterday. Just kind of spent the night or the day in for the most part, grilled out a little bit. But then we have fireworks outside of where I live. The city of Tampa has this big like synchronized thing that goes all up the river walk from Armature Works all the way down to Sparkman Wharf, and I can see the fireworks from where I live. They're supposed to start at 9:15. Computer glitch, 10:35 is when the fireworks finally start to go off. So shame, city of Tampa, for a city that's used to celebrating. Couldn't get it figured out. You have these things. You know the date when you're going to do the 4th of July, so it's a shame.
Right. It's like looking ahead, then. Now you're looking ahead for the big game. He was probably looking ahead to the finals, so the NHL finals, and they got
caught with their pants down.
There you go.
That's right. So we got to get them next year, boys. A little bit better on the fireworks, but outside of that, it was just a nice, relaxing weekend, which was a nice, relaxing day. Pardon me, not a relaxing weekend.
Any storm prep?
So what?
Any storm prep from you guys?
I don't really know what to expect or what to do, so I'm just going to kind of, hunker in and hope for the best. It doesn't seem like it's going to get too bad.
You said you didn't know what to do. I was confused. You from New York?
Oh no, I mean I know what to do. I mean, but like for like a tropical storm, there's not much you can do. I mean, I've got food, I've got hurricane-proof windows, and I've got electricity and internet that all runs underground. So hopefully none of that goes, and it's just a storm, and we can keep it moving.
Yeah,
no evacuations or anything.
Growing up in South Florida, I get a kick of how people in Gainesville like freak out for this stuff. I'm like, we're 250 miles inland. Like, we're fine. Fine. But I bet if I go to Publix right now, there's like 12 cases of water left in the whole place.
Oh no, I mean Floridians don't really like hurricane like prepare unless it's like a 4.
Yeah, that's
anyways.
Wake me up when it's a 4. It's like a tropical storm. Back in like high school, middle school, you get like a tropical storm. You're like, all right, bet that's a day off school. You get up to a 1 or a 2, you're like, hey, I might get a couple of days off school now. Until it gets to like 4 or 5, you're not really worrying or running to grab some canned tuna or anything like that.
Right.
Yeah, and now that we have this whole new work from home society and everything else, it's not like much changes. I'll still have to work regardless. Everybody else will keep working. So, we'll just hope for the best, and hopefully it doesn't get too bad. And Tampa has a flooding problem, so that's the only thing that I'm worried about. But I think we'll be fingers crossed, all right. But if not, boys, we went out fighting the good fight.
If this is the last
time we chat, I appreciate it.
Yeah, somebody prep for the tropical storm. Very good. I was just testing everybody.
All right, boys. Well, let's get into the show. Got a lot to talk about. Got Hector Rodriguez on. Talk a little bit about the Gators and the Major League Baseball draft. And then we got former Gators offensive lineman and current NFL player Fred Johnson coming on the show. But first, let's give a shout out to our friend Lee Friedland of the law firm of Friedland and Associates, who's going to help with auto accidents, medical malpractice, nursing home cases, criminal matters, and personal injury cases within every jurisdiction in the state of Florida. Give him a call at 1-800-95-INJURED or visit him at yourfightourbattle.com. and Lee Friedland of the law firm Friedland and Associates. So I got a couple things to talk about. This past weekend was the opening is it still out in Oregon? I think it is, right? Out in Oregon. Julian Humphrey, the Gators' highest ranked prospect that is committed to the class, who we've talked about as being one of the fastest players in the country, was the fastest player at the opening. So congratulations to Julian Humphrey on that honor. And then Nick Evers, who was a quarterback that committed to the University of Florida, performed very well at the Elite 11. I don't know if the final results have come out from the Elite 11. I know Sports Illustrated had him ranked as the third best quarterback. I know 247 had him rated as the 11th best quarterback at the Elite 11. But for all intents and purposes, it seemed like Nick Evers had a good performance at the Elite 11. Your thoughts?
Yeah, Rivals had him 10th. So I'm guessing for our purposes, we'll go with Sports Illustrated's.
Did you guys see any film or anything?
Just like the little clips and stuff. I remember being out there because a lot of it's 7-on-7 stuff. A lot of it's just accuracy, but you're throwing on air. There's no pass rush, stuff like that.
Right.
I think the biggest thing I got from watching Evers, because I hadn't seen a ton of him before, is that he has a lot of zip on the ball.
A lot of velocity.
And it doesn't look like it's high effort either. So it's kind of just like flick of the wrist, and the ball gets to where it's going pretty quick. So I like that. And I'm trying to think of when was the last time Florida had a quarterback at the Elite 11 get talked about, in this way. Because I think Will Greer was the last one in a finals. I think Ant and Emery were like semifinalists. Didn't get to the actual Elite 11 though. So I was just trying to think of when was the last time Florida had a quarterback committed already, go to the Elite 11, and then, place in the top 5, depending on who you ask.
Right. I think it's goes to a great eval. A lot of people were mad about the Ja'Carry Brown thing. We invested 3 years recruiting him, and then kind of pulled the plug on that recruitment after McGee came on. The board changed after we changed quarterback coaches. So things got a little weird there, and we had some wants and needs. Everybody wanted Ja'Carry just because of his athletic abilities, but Dan saw a guy, narrowed in on him, and it was a great eval. Just ahead of the game a little bit on this one. I think his athleticism is through the roof. He can make all the crazy throws, but him making some of them crazy throws while moving is crazy. Just seeing the arm strength, accuracy always going to be questionable because there's no defense, like Nick said. So it's just a lot of the ball placement and throws he's able to make at this stage of his career. That's the big boy throws.
And that's kind of where we're getting to now. I remember talking to Brian Johnson about it. He's like, these guys are coming to campus now. And they've already got all this stuff, like the back shoulder throws.
Right.
They're coming to campus way more prepared.
Specifically from Texas. Texas is a little bit more prepared. In certain states, I would say Georgia's one of them. Georgia usually prepare quarterbacks very well, but Texas quarterbacks are on another level with preparation for the college level. They come in, like Kyle is a little bit sharper than Felipe as well as for his X and O stuff. So I think they come in a little bit sharper tool-wise and classroom-wise.
Yeah, Florida, for whatever reason, has not been the state to produce, those top end quarterbacks. You want linemen, you want DBs, receivers. South Florida's got more than enough for to fill the whole country.
Right.
But quarterback, whether it's North, Central, South Florida, just haven't really had those guys. I'm sure some of the remember a name that I'm forgetting now, but
yeah, it's a few. It's just the culture of quarterback is quarterbacking is terrible in Florida.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I was watching Nick Evers. It seemed like there's a drill called the Gauntlet, which tests ball placement and with stamina. He performed really well there. I think he ranked 3rd overall in that. I don't put much into 7-on-7. It's not his teammates. Offenses usually struggle on 7-on-7 just because you're trying to run through a playbook with guys that you don't traditionally play with. So in the skills that you're looking for out of a quarterback, I think Nick Evers did really well. He's improved drastically year over year, and I think he's going to continue to get better. And I think it's a great eval. You add him with Anthony Richardson and Emory Jones if he comes back, and Carlos Del Rio and Jalen Kitna. I think that you have a very, very, very strong room top to bottom.
I like that all big three had someone there with Ja'Cory Brown and AJ Duffy as well too.
Yeah, because we had to flex on somebody, and Evers came to do what he had to do. So I like that too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I thought that he did very, very well. Outside of that, Florida Gator lean, I guess you want to say, is 5-star wide receiver Evan Stewart. He had a breakout performance there as well. That would be truly an incredible get for the Florida Gators. They should be able to, they need to be able to, get a guy like him on campus. Those are the players that attract other big-time talent to play with him. But adding Evan Stewart would be incredible. And if you want to watch just somebody,
Evers, we talked about errors. I didn't mean to cut you off, Dan. My bad.
Yeah, you're fine.
I mean, we talked about Evers from a standpoint of being like a alpha male in the recruiting standpoint, and we wonder why some of these kids want to play with him because his rankings is not reflecting him being an elite kid. But I think he's going to start skyrocketing up the boards. And a lot of that energy and mentality he got on the recruiting trail is going to help even more with his ranking backing that up. Yeah, that's all I got to take.
Yeah, no, I agree 100% with you, Silk. I think that Nick Evers is a great talented player. I think that he's going to rise the rankings on Rivals, 247, ESPN. I think that he proved a lot this weekend.
Right.
I think that he'll be a mid-ranked 4-star guy, and I think that he's going to attract other talent. And he goes in, wins at these camps, and does well. He's going to continue to attract the eye of high-end running back prospects, wide receiver prospects, and the like. So, congratulations to Nick Evers, and really doing well. Pardon me, at the Elite 11. In other news, obviously last Wednesday, a lot of the name, image, likeness stuff went into effect. So here's some of the Florida Gators football team that have announced some things that they're doing. So Anthony Richardson jumped on board with Dreamfield, which is an app to hang out with players. I don't know for how long. I'm sure there's a discriminate amount of time, but to hang out with Anthony Richardson is going to set you back about $500. Antonio Shelton also joined Dreamfield for $100. Jordan Pouncey is $50, and Jeremiah Moon is $150. Donovan McMillan has announced that he's going to start monetizing his YouTube account, and it's going to be working alongside with Stadium and Gale alum Darren Heitner to map his plan of what his name, image, and likeness is going to look like. Rashard Torrance, as well as Avery Helm, have signed up on the Yoke app. I think there's a few other players that have, which is a streaming platform similar to Twitch that allows you to game for money with other players and celebrities and things of that nature. Desmond Watson has signed with our very own Spencer's Jerk and Jerky. So that was a huge announcement that came out on Thursday. Spencer and his Big Meat promo works very well with the 400-pound defensive line.
Right. No, I don't know, bro. That's weird.
I think that's a perfect matchup right there.
I mean, that's like me and Mose. I mean, if you're thinking of Desmond Watson, what's a better promotion than big meat? Got jerky, got some shirts. That one sold itself, I think.
Got big meat. Yeah.
And then Zach Carter is heading to Gen Loop, who, Silk, I know that you had the creator of Gen Loop on your Big Three Roll-Up podcast last week. Gen Loop is a place that you can get athletes to post tweets or Instagram posts about you. I think it's $20 or $30, and I think an Instagram post for Zach Carter costs about $80. Also announcing clothing brands and just brands as a whole. Jacob Copeland announced Trey Dean, Emory Jones, Gervon Dexter, and Malik Davis, who went with the MD20, which is very similar to that MD 2020 liquor brand. So I'm very curious to see where those brands go. But shout out to all those boys and best of luck to them. I think that there's a lot of announcements that came out very quickly. And now I think a lot of them are taking a step back to assess the market, figure out what their value is, and then go from there.
I'm about to buy some of all they merch. Give me the link. I'm going to buy some of everybody's shit.
I love it. So are you guys surprised with how quickly some of this came into fruition? Are you surprised that more didn't come out, or what are your initial thoughts going into the first week of NIL?
I'll be the hater because I feel like you've had some time to figure this out. To me, it looks like a lot of guys are just trying to make a quick $100, quick rack. I think Donovan McMillan is the one doing it the right way. He's already had the YouTube. That's not even what I'm talking about. But just getting somebody, whether it's an attorney or an agent, because you can do that now, to kind of handle stuff for you. Not just Florida guys. I think I've seen it across the nation. Some like MS Paint logos being put together and thrown on like a Hanes T-shirt.
Yeah, it's bad stuff. Like some of it's bad.
And I'm not going to pay $45 for that. You're going to make some money off of that, but like I don't see like real thought going into a lot of it. And I think you need to also, I mean, like, hey, like they didn't teach me when I was in high school how to like balance a checkbook. Someone's got to be telling these guys like, hey, when you're getting this money, like that's got to be taxed now. So like, don't go and spend the $1,000 you made from your T-shirts. That's a corporation, you're a company. So I think getting somebody, and it's tough because there's gonna be a bunch of snakes in the grass too that just are gonna try to take advantage of kids. But I think
that's what I want to talk about. Like anybody that rolled out like a deal, like some of these big companies, like some of these people got deals for like Barstool. Like, what does that consist of?
I don't think the Barstool thing is anything. I think they're just like Portnoy came out and said that he's sending them. It's nothing right now. They're signing to him. I think
what? That's what I'm saying. Like
he's like sending them. He's sending them like free shirts and stuff. Maybe they'll come out with something later. But then we're looking at Florida guys, and sure you can play video games, do whatever. But then I look at someone like a Spencer Rattler, and he signs with what was it? It's like a chicken wing company out in like Alabama,
Canes.
Raising Canes. The two girls, the twins who play basketball at Fresno State, I think. I mean, they've got millions and millions of followers. That's the other thing too, is that you can get a small portion of your fan base to buy your shirts and stuff. But what this to me really is going to capitalize is the people who have already marketed themselves, whether it's on Twitter. Twitter's not even great to sell. Instagram's much better if you're trying to monetize your social media platform. TikTok's been great for that. So these guys and girls that have amassed 100,000, 1 million, 2 million, 4 million followers on these social networks, there's already been a plan in a way and a place to create and monetize, whether it's TikTok or Instagram or any of these other socials. So to me, it's like the Bible, like give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day, teach him how to fish. I think you need to teach these people, these kids, about marketing themselves and creating a brand of their own name, rather than just saying like, hey, I threw together this logo, paid someone $50 for it, I'm going to slap it on a T-shirt and sell it now.
Yeah. I think you're right, Nick. I think that there's a lot that goes into what a brand is, and it's a lot more than just a logo. And, why would I wear your brand, right? I mean, I named, 6 players that announced that they have branded T-shirts on the Florida Gators roster. I'm sure there's going to be more that come out in the next few months. How many is each fan going to buy, right? And just because you have a following or just because you're liked, what does that mean for your brand, and what are you putting out there, and why would I want to be associated to your brand? And then you have to remember that your actions now represent a brand beyond just being a player on a football field. There's a lot that goes into it. I do like that one of the things that is a part of the name, image, likeness legislation in Florida was that they are required to have financial literacy classes taught in them. So there's a portion of a requirement that falls back on the university to make sure that these kids know about corporations and know about taxes and know about what to do with that money when they get it. So I think that that's a good value add. But Nick, I think you said it very, very well. Is just because you're a good athlete or a player that might be a good athlete one day doesn't necessarily translate into big dollars. And
I don't think being good or bad matters at all.
Right.
I think to a certain degree, if you're Emory Jones and the starting quarterback at any of these universities, you'll get paid somewhere regardless. Like, right? You ain't got to be that business intuitive to like get paid as a starting quarterback. Like, it's just gonna kind of flow in. And of course, you need the business behind it to kind of organize things. I think the kids, one thing about these kids, they understand the internet, and those old people don't. I think they understand algorithms. I think they know how to get shit trending. I think they know how to gain 1 million followers quick. They understand TikTok. And I think branding, it ain't about like, it's simple stuff. It's just like gaining a following. It's not about like whether it looks nice or it's a good clothing line. Your brand is you. So I think these kids need to know how to do content. They got to know how to articulate themselves and come across on apps. All that stuff is taught at the University of Florida or at any of these schools. I think the major thing is just not jumping in any bad deals. Like some of these companies are just throwing anything out there. And some kids just want to tweet, I have a deal. That's why I was saying the Barstool thing. What is it? Even if you're
Right.
giving them a shirt, like why are you announcing? What deal is that? Like why are you looking like you giving out a deal if you're just giving a kid a shirt? Like it comes off like weird to me. And I know Barstool, he came out and said they didn't have any plans. So like why are these Barstool accounts saying they signed this kid and that kid and this kid and that kid? To me, it comes off a little weird. Like people are signing any and everything just to say they have a branding deal or they're making some type of money or they feel left out. I talked to some of the kids. Some of these kids are just chilling. You got like Emery's not jumping on any and everything. Emery could have made some of the money that De'Aaron King's making. But if you're a Heisman kid that might be going on a Heisman run, signing into deals too early may be a bad move business-wise, right? You may sell your stock a little too high, or a little too low too early. So I think some of these kids are just playing and letting the value set itself, and then they'll make a move after the value set. Like everybody's not jumping on the deal. Yeah. Some of the deals that are jumping on, not even deals. People just tweeting stuff.
Yeah,
and that's why
I think there's a FOMO thing, right? I think that's how the Barstool thing ultimately worked out. Is like, hey, I can make myself, or hey, hey, I'm doing something by saying that I'm signing up with somebody. I think that that's why I don't think. I mean, Spencer Rattler obviously had the thing with Raising Cane's, and De'Aaron King had the college hunks hauling junk deal, and I think there's been a few other bigger deals. There was the gymnast from LSU who Mark Wheeler got all horny over on the timeline that signed a big deal. But like outside of that, I mean, you haven't heard a lot of the big deals because I think a lot of them are trying to figure out where their place is, what that means, and what they're going to potentially sell themselves for. So I wouldn't be surprised if you don't start to see some big deals in the summer with players that are, starting to make a name for themselves and, the Heisman Trophy race or the Bednarik race or whatever it might be.
But I do think these kids understand like the apps and how to get shit trained in and how to get like shit popular real fast. You know what I'm saying? I think we don't understand a lot. I don't understand. That's why I be trying to keep these young boys around me, try to figure things out with these internet, man.
It's like I think I got like a cell phone in like 8th grade, and that like the best thing that could do was play like Snake on it.
Snake, right.
And then like MySpace came around like in high school, I think. So like I'm 32, so like in my age group and like in this bubble, like we kind of know it. But the kids now, like they were born in this stuff. This is what they do. It's just how they communicate, and that's like when old heads on the message board like they should take Twitter away from these guys. I'm like, what? You might as well put them in prison. What do you mean take Twitter away? You can't do that. So I think, like you said, so like this is just their language. They understand it. They get it. They know how to get on the For You page on TikTok and blow that.
They don't understand the business, but they understand getting shit trending and getting popular.
Yeah.
And knowing how to
So my thing is, it's kind of what I said before, and I think it's smart. If you're someone like Emory Jones, don't jump at the first thing just to be like, oh, well, I got mine too. Like I signed to someone too. I think a lot of this stuff was going to go crazy at first, and then I think it's going to settle down, and then you really got to just make smart moves. Unless you're someone that's like me or Dan on a team where we'd probably be the last guy off the bench. Like, what? Someone wanted
those guys can make money too. We talk about Clifford all the time in our DMs and stuff. Like, he's a guy, like guys like that is to understand the internet and know how to just like elevate their brands and themselves and know how to make content. Those guys can monetize. They definitely, if they know how to raise a TikTok to that many following, they damn sure gonna figure out monetization.
Yeah.
No, I mean, one of the biggest players on the team in terms of content last year was, Princely Uman Milan, who was a 4-star recruit, and had a bit of following that way, but he didn't play very much last year. He developed and put out great YouTube videos, great content. And I think that he's going to be a guy that, ends up getting a pretty big, opportunity because he does have a personality and because he does have the skill for it. So I'm very curious to see where all of this stuff ends up, but congratulations to these guys for the opportunity to make themselves some money, and and what that future opportunity looks like is we'll see.
Exciting times, man.
And I think one thing we've seen, you mentioned one person, but I think one thing we've seen, everyone was talking about this is just going to ruin recruiting. And it's only going to be for football. It's like, no, there's going to be a bunch of people, men and women alike, they're going to be able to
Bro, a tennis player can monetize himself. Like anybody can monetize themselves to go make some money, man.
And people are talking about how this is going to kill the Olympic sports. This might be a way for people in the Olympic sports to make money and to make ends meet, and especially in this year when the Olympics are about to start.
Paying people don't ruin anything. I'll tell you that right now. Like people start making money, things get better. They thought appreciating things. Like, just watch. It'll all get better. Just pay people. Trust me.
That's why I never understood the argument against it.
Right.
Now watch the jealousy in the locker room. We'll see who's really your friend and who's
that's already there.
And who's getting mad. That's probably true.
Already there. And that ain't changing nothing. There's players that get preferred treatment and all that stuff, or got more money, different shoes. Like, who knows? Like, it's already getting more girls. That's already a thing, man. I don't think money. It's just like up your bread, man. Find a way to get more money, but I don't think that's gonna be a thing. Someone's
McDonald's bag in Knoxville is bigger than the other one.
That's the thing in the locker room, in NFL locker room, right? Somebody's making less money than somebody.
The coach is making less money than a bunch of them.
That's right. That's right. All right, boys. Well, let's get on to the rest of our show. Before we do that, let's give a shout out to our friends over at Roof Soldier. So obviously we got a tropical storm already on its way to Florida coming the next couple of days. So no reminder that we are in the middle of hurricane season. So if you need a new roof, or if your roof is leaking, maybe you need to replace your roof because your insurance company is making you, give Roof Soldier a call at 1-877-ROOFS-FL. Again, that's 877-766-3735, or visit them at roofsoldier.com. Mention Stadium and Gale. You'll get at least $1,000 off of a roof replacement. So again, roofsoldier.com, 877-ROOFS-FL. Let's get Hector Rodriguez in the show.
Hello.
Hey, Hector, how are you?
What's up, man? Sorry, my wife is literally now.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Hector, we're going to do a brief intro for you and talk a little bit about Florida Gators and baseball. So you're with Gators territory, and you're with
Nick
with Rivals. Let's see. Well, you cover the Marlins too. I love it. All right, so we'll do a quick, just a quick intro for you, and then we'll go from there. So, Nick, do you want to do the intro, or do you want me to do it?
You got it.
All right. 3, 2, 1. And joining us for the first time on Stadium and Gale from Rivals.com and Gators territory is Hector Rodriguez, the man that knows all things baseball. Hector, how are you doing today?
I'm good, guys. How are you doing?
Good. We, I think we're all coming back from 4th of July, and you and I were talking about it. We got the baseball draft coming up end of this week.
Yep, starts on Sunday. Weird day to start a draft.
Yeah, weird day to start a draft. I think it's also pushed back farther. I mean, this is over like a month late. Normally they would do it right around super regional time.
Yep.
But they didn't know how many rounds they were going to have or what was going on. But as always, when we're talking University of Florida baseball, the draft is huge when it comes to who's going to get to campus, and then from the recruiting class, as well as who will maybe come back from the team and who's not going to be coming back. So let's start with the guys that are on the team, obviously we're looking at Judd Fabian, Tommy Mace, Jack Leftwich, Christian Scott. Is there anyone that you think is draft eligible that we could see back on campus?
Yeah, there's one guy that sticks out to me, and he played a lot for Florida. It is Chris Armstrong. I could see Armstrong coming back simply because he had a high strikeout rate. That's a big issue, especially in today's game with baseball. Strikeouts are already up, and for him, like, his K rate was like really, really high. It was, when you look at Chris Armstrong, you see 6'3", 6'4", 230 pounds. I mean, the kid looks like he should be, playing football at Florida as well. But the strikeouts is going to worry some scouts, and I think this year, because he still has 2 more years left of eligibility. I think this is a year that he'll just he'll be able to come. I think he'll be an everyday guy, probably play first base or DH for the 22.
Yeah, he obviously the strikeouts were a thing for him for a while, but when you look at a guy like him and the power's there, it's already there. That power normally doesn't stay for another year. I know that he's a Scott Boras guy, and Scott Boras will get blood from a rock before it signs a contract. So I think that might play into it as well. But that'd be a huge get for someone to come back, and you plug him in right there at first base, and you start to look at the team, and the infield is pretty much set. One you and I have talked about a bunch. What about Judd Fabian? We've talked about how much leverage Judd has. Is it still just a pipe dream to think that number 4 could be in center field next year?
I think it's a pipe dream. I think some team is going to take a chance on him in the first round, and I think it's going to be the Cubs. I think a Chicago team, either the White Sox or the Cubs, are going to take him in the first round. He didn't have the best season, but the power's there, and I feel like with their player development, they're going to be able to fix all the mistakes that he had. And I mean, this was a guy that was probably going to go top 5. Was even talks of being the number 1 overall pick going into the season. So I think he's gone. I think there's just too much talent there, and I don't see him back at Florida next year. They're going to probably have to put a true freshman, whichever true freshman comes in on campus, to play center field, because I'm looking on the roster right now, and I don't see a center fielder on their roster currently. Nick, I think are you muted? I can't hear you.
Yeah, I was muted. Sorry. I had to jump around too much. One of those high school outfielders we thought for sure would get to campus, but now it's looking unlikely, is Jay Allen. He's a guy that you probably would have said, hey, if he comes in freshman year, we'll just slot him in when Judd leaves, and there you go. You got a center fielder. But he's a guy that's risen up draft boards, and now I think you and I are on the same page. We don't think he's going to get to campus.
Yeah, in my opinion, he is one of the 3 locks in Florida's class that will not make it to campus. In fact, I think Jay can actually sneak into the late first round. The 3 teams I'm hearing about that are the most interested are the Tampa Bay Rays, the hometown team, the Dodgers, and the Toronto Blue Jays. I know the Blue Jays, sent a couple people to go see him at the Florida high school All-Star game, and I think he had a pretty good game there. So, I mean, I don't think he's gonna make it, and the other 2 guys I don't think make it are Painter and Petty. Your top 3 commits are not gonna make it, and that's expected for a program like the University of Florida. You're gonna recruit at that level. Well, those guys are probably not gonna make it. And if they do, they make great. They're great impact players, like how Brady Singer was.
Right.
Hector, I be following baseball from afar, and Nick be lying to me a lot. So, are we concerned about Sully in the program at all? The way last year went?
Nah, I think it was I think a lot of things just were going the wrong way. You had a couple quick injuries to some bullpen arms that were going to be used a lot. I mean, the one that doesn't get talked about a lot is Tyler Nesbitt. He was a true freshman, and he hasn't allowed a run in his entire collegiate career. And he was a guy that was committed to Florida Gulf Coast, went to like the national tournament, like the Elite 11 of high school baseball, and was the best pitcher in that tournament, won the MVP pitcher, and 2 days later flipped to Florida because Florida immediately saw how good he was. And as a true freshman in 2020 was excellent. Gets Tommy John, doesn't pitch this year. I think injuries played a role, especially when it came to the bullpen, because that was supposed to be one of their biggest strengths, like how deep their bullpen is, and they just didn't get it this season because injuries and also just some guys underperforming. And Look, when you have the number 1 recruiting class in the country, and there's a lot of excellent players here, like Florida has 23 commits, 2 of them are JUCOs, 21 high school guys. Florida not only do they have one of the highest amount of kids, but they have the highest average player total, average player ranking. They're number 1 in the country, and Vanderbilt's number 2. They're at an 8 point something. Florida's an above a 10, and Vanderbilt actually has 2 more commits than Florida.
Now you were talking about, speaking of commits, you were talking about recruiting and a couple of our top guys are probably going pro. How do they normally supplement for that when they have guys that they predict in the class, or they recruit and they miss, or they go pro? How do they pick up? Do they hit the portal? Do they work JUCO? How does it normally work in baseball?
Well, it's usually been JUCO guys, and also coaches expect when they probably landed Andrew Painter 2 years ago, they were like, yeah, this kid's never going to come to our school. He's 6'7", 230 pounds, and throws 98 miles per hour. He ain't coming. So they already
publicity thing, taking his commitments is publicity. Good look.
No, it's just
stuff can happen.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
something happens, an injury,
Bad season.
Yeah, even a bad season. I mean, with that kid's potential, I mean, this is a kid that was one of 2 high school players to be in the Golden Spikes Award finalists. No, there's only 2 high school kids in the country that actually get to do it because that's a college award. And he was the best high school pitcher in the country. And look, they flipped the kid from a very small school, but he's from the state of Florida, Fisher Jameson. When he was from Bryant University. But when I saw the kid pitch like through videos and stuff, I'm like, he's 6'5", 210 pounds, and he throws 94. Why wasn't more schools on this kid?
Right.
How did Florida just like look? It's like, oh yeah, there's that kid too. The biggest thing is there's just so much talent in the state of Florida that just same thing with football. Football, like the state of Florida is probably king. When it comes to baseball, it's the same exact thing because there's guys that are on Florida's roster, and there was kids that actually were committed to Florida, but never made it to campus because of the draft. But they were originally previously committed to smaller schools like UCF and Stetson. And in fact, one of the JUCO kids that's committed, Sean Gilliams, was a UNF pitcher and he never pitched this season because he didn't like the player development over there. So he went JUCO, and 24 hours after the transfer portal, Florida picked him up.
Yeah, stuff happens. Like Brady Singer's a guy that probably no one expected to get to campus. He goes second round, turned down that money. Carson Whitson, years back, was the 9th overall pick, turned down $2 million. So baseball recruiting is interesting in that you have to over-recruit because some of these kids aren't going to come to campus. So if something crazy happened and everyone that Florida had signed comes to campus, there's going to be some hard conversations with some guys that say, hey, there's just not money for you here because we didn't expect it. So you kind of have to over-recruit because you're recruiting against the draft and against millions of dollars in some instances.
Now they had to make those tough conversations last year a lot. There's a lot of kids in their 2020 recruiting class that signed, but they told them that, hey, because of we were keeping Tommy, we're keeping Jack, and all these other guys, we're gonna have you're gonna have to go somewhere else.
So all we're talking about is bad news. Who are some guys that you're excited about in the class that we think will get to campus?
So the first guy that comes to my mind is perfect game All-American catcher Rennie Lastres, catcher down here in South Florida. He's a Miami kid, but he plays high school baseball at Calvary Christian Academy. Rennie is the number 3 high school catcher in the country, according to Perfect Game. The kid is about 6'3", 205, 210, great size, has great power, elite defensive catcher. But there's some swing and miss to his swing. And I feel like that is going to hurt him. And also a lot of MLB scouts just don't like drafting high school catchers because a lot of them don't pan out because of one thing or another. Sometimes it's difficult for catchers to be, even though you don't need a catcher to hit, at a very high level because he matters so much defensively, then you're not going to waste a high draft pick on a guy that's probably not going to hit. He might be great defensively. He might be a Gold Glove winner defensively, but if he's batting 230 and, his OPS is below a 700, it's kind of a wasted first, early round pick. If you're going to draft a hitter in the first few rounds, you're going to want that guy to, mash. You want him to be a productive player. Even if he's good, even if he's like average or subpar defensively, at the bat, if you can hit, you're always going to play. So, they'll find a position for you. I mean, the American League doesn't even put you on the field. You could just sit in the dugout and, take 3 at-bats a game. So that's what I think what really matters. And a kid like Randy, he's going to probably ask for a lot of money. And I feel like teams are just going to be like, you know what, we'll see you in 3 years.
Yeah, that's catcher's a position too. And you're seeing a lot more guys, a lot more teams take college guys just because that turnaround time from draft to the pros is going to be shorter. And then when you're looking at a position like catcher, like, hey, you're not used to catching what we're going to have in our farm system, let alone what we have, on the big league team. So I think that progression is even a little bit farther for catchers. And that'd be a guy I could see for Florida making big contributions in year one. And then there's another one that I really like in the Tampa, Lakeland area, Jake Fox.
Yeah, Fox is a kid that I've actually spoken to recently, and he's a kid that if he comes to campus, I feel like will be a day one guy. I feel like he can immediately make an impact. Start at second
Where's
base.
he play? Oh, okay.
Yeah, and you move. But Florida already has a second baseman, Colby Alter, a true freshman. The kid had a great season, but I think his more natural position will be third. Kirby McMullen was your third baseman last year. He's gone. His eligibility's up. Maybe he gets drafted. I'm not sure, but I feel like Halter moves to third. Rivera will stay at short, and Jake Fox will be the easy transition. But there's another kid in there, Judge brother, Derek Fabian. He had a great season. So, Florida's going to have a pretty good competition out at second base. I think Jake Fox wins it out because, the swing is there. He hit a home run, and people were comparing his swing to Bryce Harper. And if you don't know who Bryce Harper is, just look at the contract he makes. That's a $300 million swing right there.
You about to line like Nick, Hector, I can tell.
I'm speaking
the truth.
Don't put him in a corner you've already put me in. So
yeah.
Shout out to Bryce Harper.
Yeah, that he had that swag that left. He had a bomb. That we were just talking about NLI stuff. That swing got picked up everywhere. Barstool picked it up. That had millions of impressions.
Right.
What else you got?
Hector,
go ahead, Dan.
I was gonna say, who's a player on the team that might be like a late bloomer, maybe the guy that's not going to contribute, first or second year, but maybe has the tools, down the line to be a contributor for you.
Right. Are you talking about from the recruiting class or somebody that's already on the roster?
I don't care. You can say one of each, I guess. Maybe from the recruiting class, since that's what we're talking about most recently.
All right. So for the recruiting class, one kid that I'm pretty high on, and I think he'll make an impact immediately because there's going to be a position of need, is Corey Robinson. He's out of Spruce Creek High School. There's actually another Florida commit that is on the same team with him, Brandon Neely. He's a right-handed pitcher. But Corey he's a smaller center fielder, but one thing he can do is absolutely fly. He is one of the fastest players in the country. I think he ran like a 6.3260. And if you're running that fast, he's probably got a top 5 speed in his class. And there's actually another kid in Florida's class that's actually probably the fastest kid in the country, Michael Robertson. But I have him on as a guy that probably gets drafted, because he's 6'1", but he's a little bit bigger and he has more speed. While Robinson is about 5'11", 170. He's a skinny guy. But, when I saw him play high school ball, he played against Painter in the preseason, and he actually went 2 for 2 against Painter with a walk. So he's a guy that he's going to get on base, he's going to steal bags, and he's going to cover a lot of ground in center field. I feel like once that kid continues to develop and starts building up into that frame, I think that's a kid that is, he might never hit 15 homers in college, but he might be a guy that hits, 320, 330, steal about 20 bags and play a great center field. As for somebody on the team right now, I'm going to go with the kid.
Me in my prime, Hector. I ain't gonna lie.
As for somebody that's currently on the roster, and the kid already hit 300 this year, but I think he hasn't even reached the ceiling yet. Is Sterling Thompson, the right fielder? He's a kid that is about 6'3", but I think he's under 200 pounds. He's got skinny arms, but the swing's there. Nick was telling me that Sully kind of saw him as a Cody Bellinger type, and that's an MVP. If I'm looking at Thompson, I kind of see the Cody Bellinger comparison. But the one thing that he's also draft eligible this year, so I expect him to add some way to improve his draft stock and improve the power because the stroke is there. It's a great swing, but the power just needs to get there. And I think if he adds a nice 15 to 20 pounds, he could be a 15 to 20 home run guy next season, especially with how low that right field wall is. He can get it out there.
Yeah, the one that I'm really interested in from the team is Jacob Young. I think when you look at baseball now and how analytical it's gotten with the numbers, it's a high strikeout home run game. That doesn't really put Jacob Young, in the forefront. But if you're like a high school coach or a little league coach and you bring your team to watch Florida play, that's the person you point to and tell like your little kids, like, hey, that's who you want to watch. That's who I want you to emulate because he just does everything the right way. He was draft eligible last year. They only had 5 rounds. draft eligible again. He was just up in North Carolina at the first ever MLB draft combine. He's someone I don't know where he would get drafted, but it'd probably have to be, top 5 to 7 rounds to make sense money-wise, unless, he decides, hey, if I come back, I'm a senior, and then I have no bargaining chip. So he's one that's really interesting. I think it would be incredible for Florida to get him back, but not sure, where his head's at when it comes to that.
Yeah, based off the people that I've actually spoken to, they think that Young is a 5th or 6th round player. I think his hit tool carries some value, and people already know when they're watching him that he's never going to be a 30 home run guy in the big leagues if he ever makes it to the big leagues. But what he does well is he works the count well. He's not a high strikeout guy. He makes a lot of contact, plays good defense, and he can run. They can work with guys like that. If they know that's where they're going to be, then that's somebody that, they're not going to look to add power to. They're just going to be like, hey, man, just continue doing what you're doing. Just, fine tune on these type of things. So, if you do ever make it, you could stay up there either as a top of the order bat or kind of hitting that 7-8 hole, trying to be like a second leadoff hitter in the bottom of the order.
Here's one. It's not necessarily draft, but what do you think the weekend rotation looks like next year?
So I think the first 2 spots are pretty much locked in. I think it's going to be Barco number 1 and Sperron number 2. As for number 3, if Timmy Manning improves, I feel like he's a guy that could get it. He was a top draft prospect, but because of the 5 rounds, he was a guy that quickly announced that he was going to go to Florida. He had a kind of a roller coaster every year, a little bit more bad than good, but there's some stuff there. He has a disgusting breaking ball. He has one of the best curveballs I've seen ever from a left-hander. But if it's going to be a high school, but let's say like one of the freshmen sneaks into the class, there's one kid that I look at as like he can be the next AJ Puck at Florida, and that is Pierce Capala, the 6'8", 215-pound left-handed pitcher out of New
Baseball
Jersey.
players are tall. That's what I'm learning today.
Pitchers are tall, especially starting pitchers, very tall. Yeah, but Capala,
he was actually going to come down to IMG and decided not to, and I think he got his team to the state championship or close to it this year. One of my friends who used to cover Florida is up there covering preps, and he was asking me about him. That'd be an interesting one. If we always talk about Painter and Petty, but I think Capala is the one that probably needs a little more development than those two, and that could, like you said, could get to campus.
Yeah, plus this is a deep left-handed pitching draft. So even a guy this is a kid that can get up to 96, 97. Even with all that, he could still will fall underneath the cracks. And a big part of it is he kind of looks like clunky on the mound because he's just so long and skinny. But he's a guy that I think will be an exceptional player. Will probably compete for the Sunday role. I imagine, the veterans are gonna get the first crack, but if they don't, perform well, or if this kid is just lights out and you can't keep him off the roster, you can't keep him out of the rotation, then he's gonna force Sully's hand. But he's a kid that I think will be an excellent pickup for Florida if he's able. That would make Florida, because they had let me make sure they had 6. They had 6 perfect game All-Americans in their recruiting class. I have 2 that are going, and there's 1 that's 50-50, and that is depending on something that I actually heard today that could change that kid, one way or another. But yeah, so Pierce Capala, that's a kid that I think he'll be very good, and he's a kid that was actually, college baseball, you really don't get a lot of flips. If you do, it's from a small school to a big school. This kid was actually signed to Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm not mistaken, they made it to the College World Series.
Yeah.
You usually don't see one kid flip from a big school to another big school. It's usually from a small Division I school, and then he finally gets recognized, and a big-time school offers him, and he takes it. But that's one of those rare instances where they've actually flipped a UVA commit. The other one that it's actually just reminding me right now, Hunter Barco was a UVA commit, and Florida flipped him. But Barco was actually a Florida kid. Capala's, up there in New Jersey with Petty.
Yeah, Jackson Coher was a Clemson commit. That's right. And they fired Jim Leggett. But yeah, Baseball kids commit when they're freshmen, sophomores, and they just stick it out. One other name that you didn't mention, it'll be interesting to see, will be Nick Pogue. Just seeing where he comes back from his Tommy John surgery, because he got Tommy John in February, and that can be anywhere from 14 months to 24 months, depending on the guy. But, if you think, hey, 14 months, when does he slot back in, somewhere in the middle of the season or right maybe in the middle of SEC play? And how do you use him coming back from Tommy John surgery? But definitely an arm that Florida would have liked to have had this year.
Yeah, he was definitely missed. I think him and Connor Scott would have been the most used relief pitchers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, especially with their ability to eat up multiple innings and not just be one inning guys.
Yeah. Christian and Nick were two guys that, the way Christian was used, 3-4 innings at a time, kind of like the way we saw Kevin Kopps at Arkansas, the way Michael Byrne was used at Florida in 2016, 2017, that reliever, but a reliever that can give you 5-6 innings if you need him to.
Yeah, that Kopps kid was incredible.
Yeah.
He did some great things over in Arkansas. And that's a guy that I really don't hear a lot about in the draft. I mean, I think he throws pretty hard. It's just interesting. I'm surprised that he's not getting a lot of buzz for the draft.
So overall, we've obviously mentioned some of the names, Petty, Painter. How do you think Florida survive? I mean, obviously the draft, a bunch of stuff can happen, but how do you think Florida shakes out after this draft?
I think they're a lock for a top 3 recruiting class. They might not be number 1 anymore, depending how many guys leave, but I feel like they're like the quality of their commits is what will keep them up there. And to be honest with you, I literally wrote down everything before. I have like 5 guys that I think will be gone and 2 50-50s, and it really just depends on what happens. Now, I could be dead wrong, because the MLB draft is extremely unpredictable. It's probably the only draft that doesn't take the best players. It takes whatever they can because of slot values and stuff like that.
Slot value, signability, all that stuff.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we got Sunday. It'll be Sunday night into Tuesday. A 3-day draft or 2-day?
Yeah, 3 days. And Monday starts at 1 and Tuesdays at noon.
Yes. Yeah. Sunday's the one that'll be easy for you to follow, Silk. It'll be on.
What channel is on?
It'll be on MLB Network, I think.
Or ESPN. I think it's
or maybe
MLB
ESPN.
Network.
Come on, man.
I don't have that channel.
That's
extra?
That's easy to follow. The first day is easy to follow because it's just the first round and the compensation picks.
It's slow, so I'm off
once you get
content.
to Tuesday, those picks from like rounds 20 to 50, or I guess it used to be down into the 50s, but once they get into the later picks, it just starts rolling. You think rounds 5 through 7 in the NFL are fast? Like you can't even talk about who's being picked. So I'll have Hector.
Okay, yeah,
right.
Spence asked me if I had the Fire Stick. I do, so we cool. I'm checking out that draft for sure. I wanna start getting more into the Nick's on the show, so I gotta like baseball a little bit now.
Forcing that on him. Well, Hector,
right.
let them know where they can find you on social media, where they can find your writing. I know we've got some stuff planned this week for the draft and all that, and I'll be over on Rivals.
Yep. So if you do want to, by the way, it's on MLB Network and ESPN. I just checked it out right now.
Nice.
So if you want to follow me, on Twitter, because there's no reason you follow me on Instagram, my ad is @Hector_baseball. Besides Gators territory, I'm also on Rutgers Rivals for baseball coverage and Fish Traps. I'm the contributor for them on SB Nation.
You say Fish Traps?
Stripes.
Fish Stripes. What do you do over there? What's up?
A lot of draft stuff. Like tomorrow.
Oh, I thought it was fishing. I thought you was fishing.
No, like Marlins.
Florida
Marlins.
Oh, I thought you like a
Miami,
bro.
Dan.
My bad.
Yeah, I know. Sorry.
No. Miami, come on, Dan.
I know. It's been, 10 years?
Almost 2012.
Hey, I ain't gonna lie, man. There was a run of Marlin sports where I was a big Marlin fan. We had Jeff Conine and the boys, man.
Yeah,
I went down to some playoff games at the time. I was like a jet. That was fun times. I went to a couple of Dontrell Willis moments as well.
That's my guy. That's my guy, the D Train.
The D Train.
I used to copy his pitching motion when I was in travel ball.
I used to shit slapped out the park. I could tell, Hector.
They need to bring back the teal pinstripes.
They
Yes.
do every
Those are
now and
cold.
then.
Those
They
are
do
cold.
every now and then for like a
Tell us
throwback
about your
weekend.
pitch, Hector. How did it work out for you?
For me, I was mostly a hitter, but as a pitcher, I was just fastball and let's see if this curveball can break.
So when
That
you
was
tried
really
to
it.
dun trail, what happened? Be honest.
Oh, I was like 8 or 9. Like I was just like trying
okay.
I was just trying to throw hard. No, back in high
Yeah.
school, like I couldn't get up that high without like being off balance.
Right.
But I played against Code9's kid. He's actually with the Marlins now in minor leagues, and he's got like 17 bombs already. Kid's
That's
next.
a cool name, man.
Yep.
It's a goat.
Yep. Definitely Mr. Marlin.
Definitely so. All right, Hector. Well, we appreciate your time this evening, and we'll talk to you soon.
Yep. Thank you for having me, guys.
Thanks a
Enjoy the
lot.
rest of the show. Have a great week.
Talk to you
Yeah.
later, Hector.
Thank
You
you.
got it. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Shout out to Hector.
First off, Hector knows his stuff, but
He does.
as much as I talk baseball, Silk just doesn't listen. We had to bring somebody else on
You lie too much, bro.
to give the same or similar opinions.
It's like the movie Liar Liar with you, man.
The pen is blue.
I don't know. It might be black. Now that you say that. Shout out to we got some good information. I wanted to deep dive on Sully, but it was more about the draft, so I laid back a little bit. I didn't want to, trying to get in good graces with all the coaches. Can we get Sully on here?
Yeah,
Right to right some wrongs.
He's up in North Carolina right now. He's the pitching coach for the USA Collegiate National.
Dan has a take about Sully.
What's Dan's take on Sully?
He hasn't been on the show. That's why he's struggling. Huh?
I have takes?
Yeah, you say he hasn't been on the show. That's why he's struggling.
Oh, yes, that is true. Yeah. All the coaches that haven't been on the show aren't doing as well as they should be.
Well, the tennis coach just won a championship.
He's not been on the show. You're right.
He's a exception to the rule, Nick. Are you with us or against us, Nick?
I don't know.
It's against us.
All I know is I'm getting like a weekly segment of fact checking Dan.
Right.
There's one thing a week where I fact check Dan. I'm gonna start selling a sponsorship for Dan's fact check of the week.
Yeah, no, I need to.
Danny facts turn into Dan's fat check.
Yeah.
We need to get the new soccer coach on. We got to get the tennis coach on. Got to get Sully on. I'm not sure Mike White will ever come on the show.
No. We wrapped that up a little bit. I think that's a wrap. I think my tweets kind of sold that up the river.
Yeah. Maybe we'll get the next basketball coach whenever that may be.
Yeah, shout out to him.
Well, there you go. It wasn't over yet. You're talking about interviewing his replacement on the show. I think that might seal it.
Well, come on the show.
There's one way to fix that fate, Nick. Come on the show. Come on the show.
Well, Ron English came on the show. He stood in the paint, center of the ring.
Nick, we didn't interview you well enough, So we got to go back to our.
I don't know if he's for us or against us, bro.
I can't tell.
I ask you. This guy's man.
Nick's been on the show for like 7-8 weeks now. It's barely bringing us any new guests and dogging us,
Yeah, like go against our philosophies and our thoughts and shit.
No, just come to wreck things up, burn the city down.
Shout out to Ron English though. I called him Larry English for like a year and a half, so he's probably like fed up by the time he came on the show. Shout out to Larry English too.
Shout out to Larry English too.
I called him Larry English on the show. That's how bad
he came with his guard up. He came with like 7 guards up. I asked him one question and he was he was not happy. Like, what do you mean recruiting's hard? I was like, you tell me.
See, when Dan made his mistake, I knew I should probably let up. I was like, you know what? Like, he's
Dan, you didn't follow up with like I thought it wasn't hard, and then the way you make it look, I thought it was hard. So you tell me how it's not.
Shout out to Larry English.
Yeah, shout out to Larry English. Well, let's give a shout out to our friend Carlton Black. He actually helped one of our listeners. Shout out. Gave us a message on Patreon the other day. Let us know that he's going to be saving $200 a month on his mortgage by using Carlton Black. So if you're looking for a new mortgage or you're looking to refi, give Carlton Black a call.
I'm about to call Carlton. I don't want to sell, but there's some good equity just floating around here, Daniel.
Sure is. 404-769-5501. 404-769-5501. Florida, Georgia, Tennessee, or Virginia home loans, refis, FHA loans, VA loans, construction loans, whatever the case may be, give them a call at 404-769-5501. Well, we said that Fred Johnson will be on the show in this segment right here. Unfortunately, a scheduling conflict come up. He's going to come on in the next couple weeks, so he is very, very
I
apologetic.
was so ready. I was so ready to got this Royal Palm Beach High School alumni talk. Damn.
We were running a few minutes behind. Some things came up in his schedule, so
I got so many notes. Then I had all the Royal Palm, all my tweets printed up of my Fred Johnson support when the slander was going crazy, and I said Fred Johnson is going to be an NFL pro for a long time. I got all my shit lined up, and he flaked on me.
He flaked on you personally, as you
Royal
said,
Palm
because
alone.
Royal Palm. The 5'6" just the blood isn't as strong there.
Oh my goodness! I thought my face was better than that. I gotta talk to Fred.
Oh man! So Fred will be coming on in the next few weeks. So we apologize for that. But Silk, why don't you take us into a Brunt Insurance ad read and let's break down some Gator news of the week and a little buy or sell action.
Shout out to the greatest insurance company of all time. My man Greg at Brunt Insurance and Financial Services, the best of the best when it comes to customer service. Anything you need insured from the Panhandle to the Keys, my man Greg got you. Home, auto, your life, renter's insurance, motorcycle insurance, trailer insurance, anything you may need insured or maybe even some financial services. Visit bruntinsurance.com or give my man Greg a call, 954-589-2204. Big coverage, big policies.
My car insurance renews, I think, in a couple of days. So, Greg, be looking out for that check, buddy.
You be ready to save some money, Dan. That's all you need to be ready for.
That's right. Well, I'm saving a couple. I think I'm saving another $100 over the last time I renewed, new car, all that kind of stuff. But from last time, brand new car, your insurance pew through the ceiling. But we're back down to some normal rates. Not Greg's fault though. Let's get into Gator news of the week. Nick, I might need some help with this name. I'm going to say it and correct me if I'm wrong. So Gator news of the week, Mark Colavsari.
Yeah, correct him. Yeah, correct him. Go ahead and correct him. I know he's wrong. He said correct me if I'm wrong. I know he's wrong, so go ahead and correct him.
Say it again.
Colavsari.
Colzavari.
There's an A. There's an A that's missing in there.
Is that Detroit? Where's that from? Is that Floridian or is it
Mark
Detroit?
Colavsari.
Colzavari.
Well,
that was fun to type because he started.
Is that California name or is it like a Detroit name?
He's Florida. He's from Florida.
Oh, shout out to that.
Yeah, I'm not sure. That name doesn't sound Floridian. But long story short, he's from beautiful Eustis, Florida. That's incredible.
It sounds Eustis. It sounds like it's from Eustis, Florida.
It sure does. Yeah, it either sounds like it's from Eastern Europe or Eustis, Florida.
They silenced the ZCH in that place.
Yeah, that's right. You know,
just call him Colo for short, so we don't get the Colzavari.
Yeah. I don't know if I ever pronounced it. Has a ZSV in a row like that.
Yeah, all that solid.
Yeah. All long story short.
You just gotta say it with your chest. When you don't know, you say it with your chest like you're right, and people just go along with it.
Well, I've done that before, Nick, and I got called out in the DM. So
confidence is key with bad pronunciation. I just take that from me.
I'll tell you what, that was bad. So anyway, we'll start this Gator news.
And then you just say tomato, and that fixes everything.
That's right. Potato. Yeah. So Mark was named to the U.S. Olympic roster and will be the Team USA starting catcher for the Summer Olympics in Tokyo. So congratulations to him. Colin Castleton, that's a name I got right, is going to be returning for his senior year. That's a big get for Florida. He had a good kind of breakout season for Florida last year at center. I think that he continues to get better. Eric Fawcett, obviously friend of the program, was commenting that he was shooting lights out from the three-pointer during tryouts and exhibition style run around. So, expect Florida to hopefully get a little bit more from him from shooting the ball deep. So, Colin Castleton will be back to a brand new Florida roster. On the University of Florida football team, 5 freshmen or transfers made their first academic honor roll. So shout out to Xavier Henderson, Mordecai McDaniel, Jonathan Odom, Stuart Reese, and Jonathan Shorter for being first-year academic honor roll football honorees for
shout out to the books. Yeah, shout out to the books, man.
Absolutely.
That's dope.
In women's golf, a former UF golfer and 2016 SEC champion Maria Fernanda Torres is going to represent Puerto Rico in the 2021 Olympics in Japan. So congratulations to her. In women's track and field, the Florida Gators haven't announced officially, but on their Instagrams, they've announced that Jasmine Moore, who is actually a triple jumper in the Olympics this summer, is going to be transferring to the University of Florida from the University of Georgia. So she just announced that from a couple days ago. So that's a huge get for the Florida Gators. Also, Anna Hall, who runs the heptathlon and the high jump from the University of Georgia, is going to be transferring to the University of Florida. And then Asia Smith, who's a grad transfer from San Diego State, who is a heptathlete and runs the pentathlon, is also going to be transferring to the University of Florida. Odds-on favorite from what I am reading that the Gators could potentially be winning the women's track and field national championship next year. So good luck and congratulations to them. And finally, former Gators baseball player, Harrison Bader, who's been having a rough season of injuries and just hitting overall, hit his first career grand slam in extra innings the other day. So congratulations to Harrison Bader. That ends this week Gator News of the Week. All right, boys, buy or sell time as we end our show.
Yeah. You okay?
My microphone's dropped again.
That was a lot of beady, like your
like my concert,
beady, like your concert.
Yeah. All right. So
Like
buy or sell. 3 wide receivers on the Florida Gators are going to end up with at least 500 yards received. Buy or sell.
You said 500. I buy it. Let's go.
Okay.
I'm with it.
Who are they in your mind, Silk?
Give me Shorter, Copeland, Hendo.
Okay.
I mean, if you're doing that, then you're probably putting Emory at 2,000 passing.
Yeah, you'd have to probably put him at more than that.
I mean, that's about right these days, man. That ain't even a crazy year anymore, right? It's just a pass-happy league these days.
3. I don't think 500. I mean, that's a good season, but I don't think that's a great year. There's a lot of guys. I'll just sell because I think you're going to get, a Malik Davis and Naquan Wright into the mix. Some running backs into the mix. I think you'll get Trent Whittemore into the mix as long as these guys stay healthy. So I'll sell. I'll probably get like 7.
Here's my thinking of this, Nick. Let's break it down a little bit. I just think Hendo, right, could take a bubble screen maybe 60, 70 yards a few times a year. Copeland, like all those guys just have like the ability to just like score from anywhere. So I'm just thinking they could do it a few times a year, and 500 shouldn't be hard. Like after catch shit, they can get 500. All 3 of those guys.
I mean, Trask had a bunch of those where it's a 3-yard pass, and all of a sudden Kadarius Toney's 45 yards down the field.
Right. We also had some where guys who just possession receivers wasn't catching and running like on the deeper routes or like crossing routes. So I think we can get some stuff where people are catching and running. And we got away from bubble screens and a lot of like the smaller stuff. We were going down the field a little bit. So I just think these guys gonna be able to run out to catch a lot.
I'm thinking like 5 or 6 at like 300 plus, but maybe not 3 at 500.
That's a lot of yards. So the Gators have had back-to-back seasons where they've had 3 guys with over 500 yards each, but they didn't do it once in the 10 years before that. So I think that it's tough. I don't think that it happens this year. I think that Florida has that are going to get the ball. I think you have 1 guy or maybe 2 guys. I think you have 2 guys with over 500 yards, and then I think you have a smattering of folks with 200 to 400 yards. So we'll be curious to see how that all plans out because I don't think that Florida has a true number 1 wide receiver. I think you have guys that will likely think that they're the number 1. Your Jacob Copeland, maybe your Xavier Henderson's can be a number 1, but I think one yet.
I think Copeland is the one. And I think it's just because of their relationship with him and Copeland. His skill set has a lot to do with it as well. But I just think he's been throwing to him a lot, and I can just tell between the energy between them two, they're moving together a lot. So I'm gonna go on record. I think Copeland's and then wide receiver is gonna get a shitload of targets from Emory because they boys. They've been hanging a lot. They've been playing on second team together a lot. The chemistry's there. So I think there is a number 1. Not on paper yet, but it's coming. Pause.
Yeah. Last
I've sold some things. Alex said I ain't selling anything. I've sold some stuff, bro.
I don't think
No.
I have sold some stuff.
Silk's got daddy's black card. He hasn't sold a
I've
thing. He's
sold
just
some
buying
things.
he's
the
just buy.
store up.
He's
All
just hyping it up for when he's got the Gators going 15-0 this season.
Man, you just wait on
17.
that. I'm definitely buying that.
All right, boys. Last season, the Gators had 39.8 points per game. Buy or sell, the Gators have 35 points a game scoring this season.
I got more money, bro.
Swipe it, so
Yeah, that's why I give me the black card, bro. Buying it. Let's go. Shout out to Alex.
I will. I'll sell this.
You selling everything too, though. Y'all talking about me.
Well, you're
but Nick has
buying,
been
so I'm
selling
making money
everything.
over here.
Okay.
Nick's just hedging his bet.
I mean, you got it for sale. Don't mean nobody's buying it, Nick.
That's true. That's true.
Nick's
Garage
doing some
sale this
option
Saturday.
trades over here.
We'll see if it sells.
All right, Nick, you're selling 35. What do you think? 30, 28?
Well, it's interesting because the way that it goes, the way that the game is changing, like everyone scored last year. And that seems to be the way that's going. So I almost bought because of that. But I think Florida's going to be run the ball more and just in that.
Still going to get points, Nick. Points are points.
Yeah.
I don't think you've got the same offense as you had last year.
We don't. We're still going to get points. We don't
gonna take
have the same offense. We're still going to get points. Shout out to the Caravan.
So Nick,
I'm buying everything.
So I'll tell you why I'm buying. It's not necessarily because I think Florida's going to have a better offense. I think it's because they have an easier schedule to be able to get some points in some big games. I think Florida Atlantic, I think USF, I think Samford, I think that they score big points there. I think that they score big against Vanderbilt.
LSU, you got LSU too. Yeah, them. That's food.
I think Tennessee for sure. So I think that there's some games, where Florida's going to be able to put up 50, 60 points where last year they weren't able to. So I'm going to buy it around 35 points a game. I'm going to go 35.1 just to be the over.
All right, I'm going to go 34.8.
Yeah, because we went 35 in the all SEC schedule. I like Dan's take. Well thought out. Seems professional. And I already bought it. So I think Nick's in tough waters here. Are we keeping track of this? Let's keep track of this.
Are we keeping track of this?
Yeah, we are.
I want to revisit all of this.
Yeah. We will have a show where we revisit all of this, and you'll have to stand in the paint. And finally, buy or sell. The Gators averaged allowing about 30 points per game last season. Let me give you the exact number here. So I'm not just pulling numbers out of my hat. 30.8. Buy or sell. The Gators allow more than 30 points a game this season.
I'm selling that.
Write that down, Alec.
Silk selling. Why are you selling?
Like a little bit of what Dan said. It's not an all SEC schedule, and I also like our upgrades at the defensive tackle position. I think defense starts at that position. We were weak at it last year to start the season. Starting wise and depth wise, we were weak at that position. This year, I think we bolstered up that with the transfer portal, and we also have our own in-house Gravon Dexter, who I think is gonna come on around mid-season and be a starter himself. So I just got the defense being overall better. We got different defensive back coaches. Grantham is still, to be judged. Seat's still a little high with the fans and the fan base, but I think we improve.
I'm selling too. I'm just selling everything. I'm not buying a damn thing this week. I agree. I think we'll see. Listen, the secondary was bad last year, and you get two guys drafted from a bad secondary. So I think that's why there were some coaching changes there. We'll see how they do. I'm a big Gravon Dexter guy, like Silk just said. I also like Shelton, and are we calling him Valentino or Shelton? I don't know which one.
Both of them. I like both of those guys.
Well, no, that's the same person, Antonio Shelton, and he said he wanted to be called Valentino. Yeah. That's what his Twitter says.
Call his whole name. What do you mean? We can't say I want to be called my last name.
Well, I don't know what his situation is. Anyway, him and Daquan Newkirk. That's the Auburn transfer. I like those two there. I like Chris Bogle, who Silk has been beating that drum for a while. He's the
Bogle train, baby.
Yeah.
Big Bogle vibes. I got Bogle leading us in sacks, man. I'm going out on a limb, man. As long as he stay healthy, I got big Bogle vibes.
And then I know they're young, but I like Mordecai McDaniel. I like Trevez Johnson. I like Mar Wilcoxon. Obviously, Kyrie Elam. I think Florida's defense will be better. And then, like you said, Dan, with Getting USF and getting FAU, and then getting I forget who the team is, third to last game. It's another Samford. Yep. I think those games will be single-digit games given up, in terms of points, which will certainly help the average.
I like that. I'm going to I didn't really think this out. I'm going to sell. I think the Gators allow less than 30 points a game, but I still think it's an inordinately high number. I think our defensive backs, despite the improvements, I think at on the defensive line, maybe even at linebacker, I think the defensive backs leave a hole, allow some points. You play some decent offenses this year, your Alabamas and things of that nature. So
we could fix the defense with one other way. Shout out to Allie, got a great point.
That's right. Yeah, Todd Grantham, you want to come on the show. Things improve when you come on the show. So
there you go.
Todd Grantham invitation's open. So I'm going to sell, but I still think it's higher than 25 points per game. So that concludes buy or sell. Silk, let's get us a Manscaped ad read.
Oh man, the summer's thriving, Dan. It's hot. The humidity's big. I can't go to the mailbox without these balls sweating, man. I stepped out on accident the other day and said, let me go get the mail real quick, walk over to the mailbox. It's a little skip. I walked over there, came back, my whole leg was dripping. It's like, oh, god damn, I ain't putting no goddamn ball deodorant on. I'm slipping out here in the summertime. Be sure to use coupon code SG at checkout, man, to keep them balls smooth and cool. Gotta keep them cool. Lawnmower 4.0 is the vibes. It got the light up signal, like the bat signal. So when you like that Lawnmower 4.0 up at night, wifey should know it. That's the bat signal going up. Oh, he's shaving them things. It's about to go down. Coupon code SG at checkout, man. Forget that Lawnmower 4.0. Get the ball deodorant. You get the weed whacker. Keep everything, you know what I'm saying, smooth as eggs. SG at checkout, 20% off, free shipping. Support your podcast. Your favorite podcast.
Your podcast, favorite podcast.
Yeah. Podcast, favorite podcast. All right, boys. Anything else that you guys want to talk about before we get into the song of the week and close out the show?
Nah, man.
Vibes are good. I'm looking at Twitter right now. I got Dan Mullen out
surfing. Is it
surfing? When you're behind a boat?
Oh, I like it when he go do vacation stuff and they get mad. I'm about to go check it out.
You can't recruit on a surfboard during the dead period, Dan.
That's right.
He's wake surfing. He's not real surfing. Come on, he out there with a boogie board. What's he doing?
I think he's out. It looks like a boogie board. I'm not a big water sports guy. It's like when you're holding onto a rope behind the boat, but then you let go and you're just riding.
Wake surfing. Wake surfing. Yeah.
It looks challenging.
It does. You should be asking the boat captain, not me, though.
We don't do that behind my boats. It's a little too dangerous.
No, you can't drive the boat. That's the problem. Yeah, no, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I'm sure Brunt Insurance has something that can cover you there, Dan.
Probably.
Yeah, that's a good idea, Dan. Nick. Next time I go out there, I gotta make sure I'm good with the life insurance.
It doesn't seem like people are as mad in the mentions this time. I'm going through them right now. I'm sure.
Out on the trail, baby. He's handy landing guys. So.
Somebody responded, summer recruiting, ? So, of course, if you're not recruiting 24/7.
How old was the picture? Is it fresh?
He tweeted it today.
Yeah, I tweeted it today. He tweeted it.
Dan's just flexing on the timeline, man.
40 minutes ago.
Makes a lot of money a year. I say it all the time. Makes a lot of money. It'd be a shame not to be able to spend it. He's out on a boat. He's living the dream.
What's good?
Shout out to him. He just celebrated 16 years of marriage with Megan.
What's like if you're a millionaire and came vacation, like what's the point?
No point.
No, I saw watch this whole video. So you have to watch it halfway through. You think it's him just surfing the whole time. I don't know, probably about 3/4 of the way through, he does himself a little 360 on it. So
did he hump a shark?
I don't think so. This doesn't look like a place where sharks would be, but
okay.
That's pretty sick. I wish I could do that. So anyway, long story short, Dan Mullen's surfing and not recruiting. So get your takes off in his mentions. All right, boys, I think it's my song of the week.
Yep. We had a little Soap took it last week.
Yep.
I appreciate the extra. I got an extra song.
Yeah. So when I was, I went to a concert, like I said, on Saturday. There's a guy named Griffin who's like otherwise pretty instrumentally strong. He's a DJ, but he also like plays piano and does stuff like that. But this was his DJ set. It got a little too Got too wild for me, a little too beady at times. But he does have some really good songs. He has a new one called "The Best Is Yet to Come." So let's do that one. So Griffin, "Best Is Yet to Come." And boys,
That's a
we'll see you
fact,
next
Chad.
week.
That is a fact. Hey, we didn't get to flirt around before we got it. We didn't get to flirt around who we want for NIL. I had that as a segment on here. I want to talk to you guys about it. Who do we want to represent Stadium Miguel real quick? Who you got?
We got a lot of names. I want
You got big
creators.
names.
Got to name names.
You can name a few. Why not? We here. Let's get the people involved. Who y'all want? They already been in my mentions. Who they want?
Yeah.
We've gotten some whispers, and we've been talked with a few guys. But
well, we've already talked. We already said. I'll throw some names out there. I said guys that are already creating and marketing their own brand and themselves. So I'll throw Princely out there as a guy who already has the YouTube channel going.
Prince, holler at us, man.
I watch a lot of, I see a lot of the players when they post like Instagram stories, stuff like that. TikTok's big on the dancing platform. Seems like Xavier Henderson might have been a member of the Jabberwockies at one point in his life.
Okay.
So I'm going to throw him on there and we're going to get him on TikTok.
He dances? He doing dance stuff?
He's like after workouts when the players are like hanging out in the locker room and they post stuff. He seems to be a big dance guy.
We need a Stadium Miguel click crew on the team. We got to get some guys dripped up and whatever. We'll talk.
Okay. So those are my two. And then obviously my third would be go after the quarterback. If you're not, big game hunting, then what are we even doing here? So go after the quarterback. And then I got some other guys who I can see in two different avenues blowing up on YouTube and TikTok.
Yeah, no, I agree, Nick. I like all of those. I like Zach Carter. I think that he's well spoken. I think that he's got a good story to tell. I think a guy like him, he's a leader on the team. I'd like to go a guy like him. I think that there's some other guys that have to poke around a little bit more on social media to see who's really doing it well. I think that we texted about Princely. I think that he does really good content. I think that he's making a name for himself outside of just football. So I'd have to think of a few more, but this is where I'm thinking. Get a couple youngsters, a couple guys that are partly through their career, and then get some guys that are, towards the end of their career. But we're absolutely going to be supporting some of these guys. So if you have any ideas, hit our mentions, hit our DMs, any players, hit our DMs. We were very, very interested in talking.
Now, hit our mentions with the S.
Yep.
Let's get some shit brewing. Let's get some shit cooking. I just want to have a conversation real quick before we get out of here. But I like Zach. I like Prince. I like the young guy. I like Kamar, the personalities. Anthony Richardson would be a good dude to keep around for a while. Like Dan say, some of the younger guys that ain't just gonna be with us for a year, may go pro. So a little bit of everything, man. Holla at us. We trying to cook up something.
Let's do it. All right, boys. Same time, same corner next week.
Same corner, same time, Dan. Get it right, bro.
That's like someone saying blue and orange. That's
right.
What he did.
Yeah, no. Leftover right?
All right, man. Good show, fellas.
All right. We'll see you guys next week.
What are you naming it?
Yeah, I don't know. That's what I was saying. I started thinking about it a little bit earlier.